First at 5, Hawaii's largest property insurance company has stopped providing hurricane coverage for thousands of rental homes.
State Farm says it's a move to reduce its risk in a disaster. Tonight, Daryl Huff tells us who is losing coverage and what it costs to replace.
State Farm says last year it stopped renewing hurricane policies for single-family, single-wall constructed homes for renters because the company is so dominant in Hawaii that could mean higher rates for thousands of rental properties.
When insurance rates rise for rental units, that is especially concerning because those rental units are going to pass that cost down to the renters. And renters are already under such strain.
Single-wall construction is common in Hawaii. The grooved redwood slats were cheaper to ship, and temperature control and insulation weren't necessary. So tens of thousands of homes were built that way until about the 1980s. But they are more vulnerable to fire and wind, and now costing more to insure.
So when insurance for rental units goes up, our entire economy is going to feel it.
And they will go up. One landlord showed us their prior State Farm premium just above $1,700 for both property and hurricane. And the new quote from a company called Centauri Specialty for just hurricane, over $2,300. The cost to insure the rental home going up more than $100 per month.
Those kinds of homes are at higher risk of sustaining damage. And that's a concern. Also for insurance companies.
And State Farm was overexposed to that risk. It insured most of the homes that burned in Lahaina and a majority of the market statewide. By withdrawing hurricane insurance from the limited pool of single-wall rental homes, the company said this decision helps State Farm manage the risks associated with this type of construction, which is more susceptible to damage from multiple perils, including hurricanes. State Farm must manage risk responsibly so we can remain financially strong and continue serving customers over the long term.
We can't control whether or not they cancel or renew policies.
Insurance Commissioner Scott Psyche said so far other locally licensed companies have stepped up to provide coverage, almost always at a higher price than State Farm.
Those rates are naturally going to be higher than State Farm just because they tend to be smaller companies that have to be able to charge more to make ends meet.
While painful for landlords and tenants, the insurance commissioner said it is healthier for the insurance market overall, with more companies spreading the risk and competing for customers.
That will ultimately help bring down the cost for everyone.
State regulators say they are closely watching how easily the local insurance industry can fill the gap left by State Farm's decision to withhold hurricane coverage from single-wall rental properties. If it becomes too hard to find or too expensive, the state's hurricane relief program can be activated for those kinds of properties. Reporting from Kalihi, Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.